What if I told you that the person you think you are, the one with your name, your job, your preferences, your memories, isn't your whole self? That, in fact, it might only be the surface, a mask, a fragment. Carl Jung called that fragment the ego. Now let's take a few minutes to peel that back. Not to destroy it, not to shame it, but to understand it. Because understanding the ego is the first step to meeting your entire self. Let's begin with a definition. In Jungian psychology, the ego is your center of consciousness. It's what says I. It's the part of you that thinks, decides, identifies. It navigates daily life, builds careers, forms opinions. It helps you survive. But here's the thing. Jung made clear, the ego is not the self. It's only a small island in the vast sea of your psyche. Pause and think. How much of your life is shaped by the ego's preferences, your routines, your pride, your fears of how you'll be seen? The ego builds a house, but it forgets you live in a forest. Jung believed the ego is born from separation. The infant doesn't begin with an ego. They begin with oneness, fused with mother, environment, instinct. But over time, the ego forms like a shell. It begins to say, that's mine. I am this, not that. And that's necessary. Without ego, we can't function. But the danger comes when we think the ego is all there is. Think back. When did you first start separating yourself from others? When did you start building the image of you? What were you praised for? What parts of you had to be edited out? Because that's where the ego grows, and that's also where the shadow begins. Jung said, the ego wears the mask of the persona, the socially acceptable face we show the world. You have one. I have one. We all do. It's the version of you that fits in, that knows how to perform, adapt, smile when it hurts, stay quiet when it burns. But here's the cost. The more we invest in the persona, the more we exile what doesn't fit. And where does it go? Into the shadow. Think of the last time you got irrationally angry, or deeply jealous, or said something and wondered, where did that come from? That's your ego slipping and something deeper breaking through. Jung warned, when the ego believes it's in control, it becomes dangerous. It clings to power. It fears death. It rejects change. It begins to confuse safety with truth. And that's when we get stuck. Think about your greatest failures. The times you broke down, lost control, felt shame. Those moments are merely the cracking of the ego's shell. And while they hurt, they are also invitations. Invitations to meet what Jung called the self, the totality of who you are. Not just the ego, not just the shadow, but all of it. In mystical language, they speak of ego death, a total surrender, a shattering of identity. But in Jung's world, ego death wasn't annihilation. It was integration. You don't kill the ego. You mature it. You relativize it. It goes from being the king of your psyche to being the servant of your wholeness. Have you ever had a moment where you felt something larger than yourself? Something beyond words? A dream? A heartbreak? A revelation? Those moments are cracks in the ego's illusion, and through them, the self speaks. Jung used dreams to dialogue with the unconscious. He believed dreams often correct the ego, If the ego thinks too highly of itself, the dream may humble it. If the ego is too rigid, the dream introduces chaos. Your dreams aren't nonsense. They are myth in miniature, your unconscious speaking in symbols. So ask yourself, what's the last dream that stuck with you? What might it be trying to say about the version of you that's too proud to listen? Jung didn't want us to kill the ego. He wanted us to place it in context. To say, yes, I am this identity, but I am also what I've exiled. I am the fear, the mystery, the myth, the potential. The ego is a doorway, but the journey is inward. So tonight, ask yourself, who are you without your story? Without your name, your history, your filters? Can you sit with that question? Not to get an answer, but to feel what's underneath? Because that's where the self waits. And it's not waiting to be impressive. It's waiting to be real. If this resonates inside you and you want to continue to go into the depths of yourself, subscribe and join us as we continue to dive into concepts of the mind. Because the ego wants and needs to be understood.